Hello everyone. Today I will be presenting on Samoa and the Hawaiian Islands and two current issues that affect these islands. For this presentation, I chose to compare and contrast the environmental and cultural issues that affect these two nations. The first issue that I decided to present on is the environmental issues. Environmental stability is important for both of these islands because the ecosystem plays a role in sustaining the population that lives there. Biodiversity is important because it boosts an ecosystem's productivity where each species, no matter how small, has an important role to play. Therefore, we must preserve the diversity in wildlife as it contributes to a healthy ecosystem which is better suited to withstand and recover from disasters. Current environmental issues in Samoa are soil erosion, deforestation, invasive species, and the overfishing of Samoan waters. The forests in Samoa are a vital source of food and material and supports the livelihoods of many of the rural communities. However, these resources are vulnerable and they are feeling the effects of climate change, cyclonic damage, to Samoa's forests. With the climate change and an increase in rainfall is threatening to cause irreversible damage due to soil erosion. Another impact on the crops has been the introduction of invasive species to Samoa. These invasive species fight the native plants and vegetation and take all of the resources. This leaves native plants with no resources for their growth and leads to the death and eventually extinction. Just as the land is extremely important to the Samoan population, so are their oceans. However, overfishing is depleting the fish's population. Overfishing is also preventing the fish enough time to reproduce and bring their numbers back to normal. Hawaii suffers from the same environmental problems that are affecting American Samoa. However, Hawaii is also threatened due to the overpopulation of humans on a tiny amount of space. Even within the past half a century, the population of Oahu has increased dramatically. In 1960, the population was established by the U.S. Census to be at 632,772 people, which was a 26% increase from 10 years previous. The population, estimated at a 1.12% increase, is currently at 1,408,600 people and is ranked 13th in the U.S. in terms of population density, with 214 people per square miles. This overpopulation will extend from merely affecting Oahu to the rest of the islands, threatening the biodiversity in exchange for housing and fancy buildings. Finding a solution to these issues isn't easy and will require some time and education. The population needs to be educated about how their actions may be affecting the world around them. In Samoa, individuals need to be educated on the limitations to fishing and how the introduction of invasive species will start a negative chain effect. We need to strive to reduce our carbon footprint and to leave the world a more positive place than it began. Overpopulation is a serious problem the world is currently facing. Some countries, such as China, have implemented strict laws against having more than 2 children. While this may be extreme, families may need to become aware of the effects that having multiple children might have on the current population increase. Culture is important in both Samoa and the Hawaiian Islands. However, cultural and traditional practices are much more prevalent in Samoa compared to Hawaii. Being a state rather than a territory of the United States has led to a more widespread influence in westernization in Hawaii. Samoa is still very traditional and conservative as when compared to Hawaii. While Hawaii is suffering a loss of culture and cultural identity, Samoa is thriving in traditional values. Hawaiian blood is steadily decreasing. However, this does not mean that the Hawaiian culture also has to die. Instead, we should take a page out of Samoa's book and practice and learn our cultures and heritage. This education can help to perpetuate the culture. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope you learned something new.